In this video, I'm going to show you how I decorated these cauldron cupcakes. Come join me. I started off with 12 cupcakes. I'm making 1 dozen, half of them chocolate and half of them vanilla. I'm making these with a cauldron-inspired theme. So first I started with melting down some buttercream icing and just kind of drizzling that over the top of each one of the cupcakes to kind of give it a glossy look, perhaps like inside of a cauldron. Periodically, I did have to reheat this to keep the buttercream melted enough to spread this evenly across each of the cupcakes. After I finished the 12 cupcakes with that glossy buttercream, I moved on to melting down some chocolate. So this is a green chocolate that I have and also a yellow chocolate, and I'm kind of mixing them together to get that fluorescent looking green color. So I am also going to be adding some candy coloring or oil-based coloring, both green and yellow, again, to kind of get to that fluorescent green color we're looking for. So periodically, I am going to be melting this in 30-second increments and then stirring up and then melting again and stirring up until I get it to the consistency needed to pour into the molds that I'll be using for this design. And now I'm pouring some of this chocolate into each one of these smaller half circle molds. I'm going to be putting them into the freezer then to allow them to harden up into what I need them to be. Now here I am pulling them out of those molds, and I will refill them to keep working. I'm going to be using 3 of these on each one of the cupcakes, so I'm going to need 36 of these. And I'm just alternating between putting them into the molds and popping them out, and until I have as many as I need for this design. While I'm waiting for them to come out of the freezer, I'm preparing my icing bag with the fluorescent green buttercream that I'll be using on top of these cupcakes. On each one of the cupcakes, I'm putting 2 small rosettes, and then I'm going back in and putting just kind of one star on either side of these 2 swirls, which you see me doing right now. That's just kind of try to give like a bubbly look to the cupcakes. After I finish that, I'm going back to popping out more of these half circles. You'll see, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but there are several different colors here. So now I am using my bench scraper that I've run under very hot water. I'm running each one of these on top of it to melt it down so I can put 2 together. So I need 12 full circles for one for each cupcake, and then I'm using one of the half circles for each one. So 1 full round circle and then 1 half circle for each cupcake. So after I finish putting them together using the melted chocolate, I'm just kind of running my finger along the edge to get rid of that separation point, that line that you can see. And in between, like I'm getting about 2 or 3 sets done before I have to reheat the bench scraper. So now that I have the 12 done, I'm going back over them and I'm really kind of rubbing pretty hard along that line because I want to get rid of that line almost completely. And I also want this to be less shiny. So I'm just kind of roughing up the surface of each one of these round pieces of candy that I've created. I'm also going to do this with the 12 half circles that will also go on them. Again, I just want them to be less shiny. And here you can really see the differences in the color. So now that I have the candies done, I'm putting 1 whole circle on each one of the cupcakes, and then I'll go back in and put a half circle on each one of them as well. I do have a few that are still waiting to be hardened, so I won't be putting all of them on before I begin the next step. While I'm waiting for the ones in the freezer, I'm going in and I'm adding some eyeballs to each one of the cupcakes. I'm putting 1 on each side. And there's the other ones coming out of the freezer, so I'm able to add those after roughing them up a little bit to the ones that do not yet have the third piece of this. Here I'm using a little bit of piping gel because for some reason that one wasn't sitting so nice, so I thought that might help it stay pulled together. So again, adding these to each of the cupcakes where there's not currently 3 pieces, 3 of those half circles. I will say that in this design, I wish these half circles would have been smaller for this design. Now I'm going back in and continuing to add those eyeballs, and I'm also using some piping gel on the top of each one of the cupcakes, and I'm adding an eyeball on top of those bubbles, which is what these round pieces are supposed to be. kind of again inspired by the cauldron theme. Here's the piping gel, and then I'll add the eyeballs to the top of them. And with those all being completely put on, that will complete the look of these cupcakes. And this is what they look like once they're completed. I do appreciate you coming to watch this video. I encourage you to like, comment, and share, and I would love if you would come back again and join me for future videos. Thank you again for joining me.